Hello, everyone. Warm welcome to all of us here today, Tuesday, May 10th. And it's a joy to be together on a Tuesday. It's noon Eastern, and this really is our time to come together. For many of us, we've been gathering week after week after week. If so, welcome back. And for those of you who may be joining for the first time, a warm welcome to each of you. And we'll just do a little landing and welcoming ourselves here. And then we'll do some tiny practices today. Today is about really connecting with ourselves and navigating difficult emotions. And I'll go more into that topic a little bit, and then we'll move into practice with each other. And really, what we're doing in our Women Together sessions and what we're doing today is tuning in to what's going on inside and tuning into what's happening for us as a community. So really today is about connecting with ourselves and connecting with each other and using that as a resource, finding different resources to be able to move through all that life throws at us, which sometimes can be quite daunting and sometimes can be quite lovely. So we'll just note where we are today and do a few tiny practices and connect with each other, because that is the fun part. So I see we're already typing in the chat a little hello and where we're all coming from. So I see Winchester, Massachusetts, sunny Maine, West Palm Beach, Florida, coastal Connecticut, Lakeville, Massachusetts, Brooklyn, New York, Long Island, Remlosa, Sweden, I believe, Huntington Beach, California, Columbus, Ohio, beautiful, sunny, warm Chicago. You don't always hear those words together. Beautiful, sunny, warm Chicago. Wonderful. Cleveland, Ohio. So we see springtime coming to the United States. Oh, and 82 degrees in Wisconsin, which is just above and beyond weather. So I hope that you all are enjoying and finding yourself landing in place. So we'll just do a little moment to land here together. I happen to be home with my big singing bowl, so I'll bring this one out today and hope that Zoom allows us to hear the resonance of this bell or the bowl, as the case may be. So what I'd like to invite us to do is just to land here together, so you can get your feet flat on the ground if that's comfortable for you. And perhaps close your eyes or lower your gaze and just noticing where you are today in the body, where you are today in connection to the earth. So perhaps the chair or the seat that you're on is connected to the floor in some way, and just noticing, feeling a sense of groundedness connecting the floor to the earth. And perhaps through all of those connections to earth, sending roots out from the bottom of your feet. And just like a tree, we send roots out all the way into the earth. And as we do that, as we send the roots out and down, we can feel a sense of rising up. So feeling a sense in the trunk of the body, just rising up. Just following the breath, moving in and out of the body. Now we'll ring the sound of the bowl to bring us into our moment of stillness, and just invite you to tune into the sound of the bowl and let that just reverberate in your body, perhaps just clearing from anything that came before this moment, connecting into being fully here, fully present now together. And when you're ready, you can bring your awareness and your attention back to the screen. And we can click on the top right corner of the Zoom screen where it says view and go onto gallery mode if you're on Zoom. In this gallery mode, I'd like to just invite us to pick 4 boxes. So you can scroll through everyone and just, if you can get your video on, this is the moment, and just scroll through and see everyone who's here. Just seeing each other's faces and taking in the pictures, taking in the movement of each of us. And as we take each of these people in, focusing on just a few boxes on the Zoom screen, and really just sending a warm welcome from your heart through the pores of your skin to these wonderful women who showed up today, these wonderful human beings who made it to the Zoom screen, who opened up and connected in this circle of community. It's just sending your warmest thoughts, your warmest wishes of welcome to each of the women here, the people that are here. Really just allowing ourselves to be seen for this moment and to see, to feel, and to be felt. That can be a lot in and of itself. So welcome, everyone. A warm, warm welcome to our circle here, our Women Together experience. So today we are here to navigate difficult emotions. And if you received the email, you saw that I saw the email and I just thought, yeah, that's it. That's exactly what it is. So, I just have been, I think, Frances could maybe even speak to this best because she always brings it in. But, there's this experience of we don't want to talk about the hard things, and we often just want to gloss over things. And the reality of our world in the last few years is that we have reached this volatility, this point of just kind of everything swings back and forth, and every day we are just exposed to so much. Even if you don't watch the news or read the news, etc., I just find that if you're tuned in at all, we are experiencing a kind of emotional volatility that goes with everything that's going on in the world. And often my dog is going to go nuts in about a minute. I just saw a delivery truck. So I just want you all to know that when I speak about emotional volatility, this one is going to be going nuts in a second. So the reality of our lives is that when we're tuned in to what's going on, or even when we're not, just in the United States alone, our rates of mental health and suicide are just increasing and climbing by the day, by the second. There is so much that is going on, and we feel that it's just me. I go through these anxiety moments and I'm like, oh, I'm just going through something and it's so hard, it's so horrible, whatever it is. And the reality is it's not just one of us. It's not us individually going through this experience alone. Of course it is. And that, experience is real and valid, but it also is all of us. There he goes. It's also, all of us really coming together, because what we're experiencing is collective. And the way that we heal it is also collective. And what's required of us now in this moment is actually to feel it on our own, but also to feel whatever's going on as a group as well. So to really feel into what's happening as a collective. And what's funny, even in this moment, I had a lot of planned things to say, but even in this moment, it's, this is what's happening in the world. There's a lot of just moment by moment, things are changing, things are shifting, things are coming up. And I find that, often what I want to do is just gloss it over and make it all okay and just have a little, good meal or something, and it's all going to be fine. Um, sorry. And what I find is that I used to run a group of young women's programs, and we had the facilitators check in at the end of the day with what kind of pie they would be and why. And, just thinking about that, and you could think about that for a moment. What kind of pie would you be today and why? And often it would be just what kind of pie I like, peach pie or cherry pie or key lime pie. And we realized that when pie with no filling. And then what we realized is that a lot of the time our facilitators would say blueberry pie when they were fine. I'm blueberry pie. I'm fine. I don't want to talk about it. I'm 100% fine. And I find that when I'm blueberry pie, I am 100% glossing over everything that's going on. So I got into a little, I saw my brother, I have a half brother, and I saw him last week, and I had a little moment with him. And I was like, I'm just going to leave. I'm going to just go to the other room. And I went to the other room, and he came in and he was like, I just want to say I'm sorry. And I was like, it's fine. It's fine. And, I don't need to deal with it. And he just stopped me, and he was like, it's not fine. I don't ever want to make you feel that way. And I was like, first of all, hearing this from a man was very surprising to me. I don't have a lot of those kinds of great relationships with men, but I was like, what do you mean you're sorry? like you really mean that? And I just started crying, and I was trying so hard to not. Cry. And that's what I do. That's my pattern. Something comes up, whether it's me scrolling through whatever's going on. Glennon Doyle calls it doom scrolling, whether I'm doom scrolling through Twitter or whatever social media feed it is, I am seeing the horrors of what's going on in our world, or whether I am dealing with that small interaction that is seemingly just with my brother, but actually is carrying, I can't even tell you how many years, hundreds of years probably, of ancestral trauma, that my father and his father and, all the fathers before that are carrying, and the feelings of my mother and her mother and all of the grandmothers. And you think about all of the grandmothers and what they struggled with and toiled with in order to bring us here. The rage that we as women have shoved down and pretended doesn't exist. We just pretend it's not there. So I did a training, and I got this experience to feel my rage. And I noticed what I was doing is I was literally with my hand, I was pushing it down. So I was going like this, physically pushing the rage down, just keeping it there. And that, first of all, is really, painful. So we've done a lot of work in here about, where it shows up in the body. So I might have a left shoulder situation because I'm spending all my time pushing the rage down. I can give a few different trainings that I've done these things in, but that was in the Timeless Wisdom training. But so I, was pushing my rage down. And what I realized as I was invited to kind of feel that feeling, which we'll do a little bit of in the moment, what I realized is that not only was this rage my rage, but that this was the rage of all of the women in my ancestral lines. It was all of them. And not only that, it was the rage of Mother Earth. So coming on the heels of Mother's Day, just feeling the rage. We have flowers, we have chocolate, we also have rage. And so, whether or not we are actually addressing that, on a daily basis. And some of us are really, great at this. I have not been in my life really great at addressing rage. So, what I sat with is just allowing myself to feel that got me in tune, even just to feel where I'm pushing it down, got me more in tune with the truth, got me more in tune with my truth. So allowing me to feel it, allowing myself to feel it has been very helpful. So I thought we could do a little practice of it today, which can be scary and hard. And the invitation that I'm going to make here is, even if it's something that you don't really want to feel right now, you don't actually want to go there, that's okay. Just noticing that can be like, oh, I have a nice big tamp down over my rage or over this feeling. I don't even know what it is. And just letting that be there, and just letting, sometimes it's a numbness. So, oh, there's the numbness. Oh, there's that big thing that I don't want to look at right now, whatever it is, and okay, I'm glossing over it. I'm blueberry pie. Noticing that wherever you are today is absolutely wonderful. And the other reality is that we can use that rage, that it doesn't need to be something that that we don't touch and never look at again. That actually, when we allow ourselves to feel those feelings, that it can spur action that's needed now and needed in our communities. So Helen shared in the chat, I'm exhausted and rageful at the same time, feels like a dichotomy. I would say 100% yes. Both things are happening at the same time. Because for me, and I don't know about all of your experiences, but what I've learned and what I've experienced is that when we're numbing and when we're, tamping down the rage and pushing it down and pushing it down and pushing it down, all of that energy, I told you about my left arm, all of that energy, I'm spending so much time and energy trying to block a rage that is even beyond myself, that I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted, and I find these pains showing up, my lower left back, my upper left shoulder. So both of these things are happening at the same time. So we allow ourselves to feel a little bit of it, and then at the same time we're like, oh, I don't want to feel it. And so there's both of those things happening. So, and for some of you, you may have totally tuned out anything that I just said because there's too much. It's already too much. And for some of us, we might be right here and ready. So what I'd like to invite us to do is to just close your eyes for a moment. And just as you close your eyes, just remember that as much as you're here in your own space, that we are also a group of about 100 or so of us holding this together. So you are not alone in this. We are holding this space together. Just take a deep breath. Fully inhale into the belly, into the chest, and into the collarbones. And exhale completely. And perhaps call to mind one thing. Rage and sadness can be sometimes connected. Sometimes we get sad when we're actually quite angry. So just think about one thing that could have made you angry. Could be as simple as something you saw in the news. There's quite a lot of it to be angry about. If you don't have something to be angry about, I'm sure one of us in here could give you one. So just pick one thing that you could potentially be angry about. Just allow yourself to be with that experience. And then in your mind's eye, I'd like for you to do the thing that you would do to fully express that anger. For me, at one point, I was in a room and I just wanted to tear the walls down. So, whatever it is, for me, it's tearing the walls down. And in my mind's eye, I am tearing the walls down. You might notice a physical sensation in your body right now. I notice that I clench my fist. Just be with that, whatever it is. Perhaps there's a temperature in your body. If you're still in a numb place, that's okay. Just notice it. But if you're feeling the anger or the sadness or the rage, just allowing yourself to feel it. If it feels hot or if it feels like you can't feel certain extremities, whatever it is, just being with the feeling of that. Allowing it to surge through your body, perhaps surging through from the earth through your body. And then out through whatever way you're expressing it. If it's tearing the walls down, throwing something through the window is something I go to. If it's violent, as long as it's in your mind, it's okay. Just being with it. Taking a deep breath. Exhaling completely with your mouth open. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhaling fully. Exhaling through the mouth with an HA. One more time. Inhaling fully. Exhaling HA. And then if you're anything like me, feeling the rage leaves these little marks in my body somewhere. So just shaking that out, shaking it out. For me, when I feel that kind of emotion, when I allow that emotion to move through, it begins to discharge somehow. So it could be that your palms are a little sweaty or maybe sweaty under the armpits. For me, I also start to cry a little bit. It's easier for me to get sad than to really be with that. And what I'd like for you to do is to take a moment and jot down your thoughts. So find a piece of paper and a pen. And it may feel like I just want to stay in that, whatever it is. And I invite you to really breathe and really allow it to move through, because the emotion wants to have motion. It wants to move through. So getting it down on paper and just writing what is coming up. You can write what you're upset about or what the emotion brought up for you. You can write the pattern that you have. I find that I just like to ignore it, to move on. Or you can write down, you can write down what you do. Do you have a thing that, like your left arm comes up and you push it down? Or when you get angry, do you clench your fists or do you clench your shoulders? So just being with that, allowing it to move through and writing it down. And I'll give us a couple minutes just to write here. So when you're ready, maybe gotten at least a few things down, we can return to the screen. And we had a couple of great shares in the chat, so I just want to read them out. Be intentional, acknowledge the distractions, welcome the discomfort, and move through the rage, from Francis. Laura shares, rage is a kind of power. Women very often feel powerless. We're not. And I love that, because so often that experience of feeling that rise, that capacity that we have, that's incredible. Even if we only do it for a couple minutes a day, that is an incredible kind of power. If we could harness that, there's a lot I have to say about that. Renee shares, I am angry and sad a lot about things that can't be made better at current immediate time. It is what it is. Radical acceptance is so important. You feel pain, but then less suffering. And I'm reminded by that, Renee, of the, gosh, I'm going to have to look up the quote and share it back afterwards. But the idea in general of pain versus suffering. So pain is an experience that happens in the moment, and it might even just be a few seconds. But suffering is when we keep reliving that. We keep allowing it to continue to affect us. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh my goodness, how horrible. Or me pushing the anger down and pushing it down and pushing it down. When we don't allow it to move through, when we don't give motion to the emotion, we start to get stuck and start to experience this feeling of actually suffering. So when we allow it to move through, as Renee said, you feel pain. You might feel it move through and it might feel really hard, but then you feel less suffering. Yeah. And Helen shares, I feel rage and sadness and humiliation in an abusive situation. I feel pain in chest, cannot relax, cannot sleep properly, cannot regulate. When we are continuously in a situation that is causing pain, it is both pain and suffering. And that is something that it's not that you can just meditate it away. If you're in an abusive situation, if you're in a situation that is continuously causing pain, then there are multiple things that need to happen. One, if possible, getting out of that situation, but in things that are physical, continuous pain, that may or may not be doable. If it's your body, for example, causing you continuous pain. So this, Patricia says, suffering, as hard as it sounds, is a choice. Pain is not. Yes. Beautiful. There's some wonderful comments in here, which leads me to say it is time for us to get together in our groups. So we'll take 20 minutes in our small groups and really connect with each other on this. And also really, really, really know that we are each coming to this from a very different place. So somebody may have been thinking about a current hard situation. Some may have been thinking about something in the past. Some may be thinking about the news cycle. Whatever it is that may be coming up, just really, really making space for each other. Share your name, share where you're coming from, give each other time to share. I put some prompts in the chat and I'll put it in again. What is something that brings up this rise of emotion? What is your pattern? And what happens in the body? And I'd say for this conversation, sharing a little bit about your pattern and what happens in the body could be the most helpful thing right now. So trying to talk less about the thing that makes you angry and more about what is the pattern that comes up for me when I get angry and what happens in the body, because we might find a lot of resonance in this community of practice, and that's what we have become, a community of practice. So please enjoy the time together. We'll be in for about 20 minutes. Remember, we don't know what the other person had for breakfast, let alone the things that they've gone through in all of our life experiences. So please enjoy the time, be considerate and compassionate with each other, and we'll see you back in 20 minutes.